Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome back to part 2 of I'm calling this our Manger Scene shadow box, and this is the one we did together on part 1. I'll link part 1 to this video if you haven't seen it. It'll be in the description below and also in the iCard above. So there you go. Isn't this the cutest thing in this first little section we did? I love it. All right, I want to start working in this bottom large section because I think I want it to be about the wise men. I think that'd be a cool place to put that there. I want to go to the paper pack. I have not looked. I thought I would do this with you guys. I feel confident that there is something in the paper pack that we can use, like a cut apart or something that will talk about the wise men. Look, wise men still seek him. I knew there would be, but I want to kind of look through here and see what we want to use as our background piece in there, or what paper, before I cover the back. Look at this one, wise men still seek him. That's really cool too. I'm going to put that one aside because I might like that one. Remember, you get 2 sheets of each. Let's see. There is simply no Christmas without Christ. That's beautiful. I may use that one. I'll put that one aside. And let's see what else there is. If anything I want to use in here. Look at that with them walking across. Oh, this is neat. This might be cool to put in there. All right. I'm holding out a whole lot for this one little spot. I think that's all of the cut apart style pieces. It is. Okay. I need to decide what's going behind here before I bring my wise men in to the front. So let's see. I might use this little Bethlehem scene this would be really cute. Okay, I'm not going to use that one here. I know what I'm going to do with that one. Now I just need to decide which one of these guys is going to be. Do I want There's Simply No Christ Without Christmas? That's the only place I'm going to be able to put it because it's too big for these smaller holes. But Wise Men Still Seek Him is really cool too to have. But for me, it's a little redundant because it's the wise men and I'm going to put the wise men down there. So that gives me a direction. Now what I want to do is go back to our scrap papers. You remember we had those scrap papers left over with the night sky? And I don't have enough large enough for here. So what I'm going to do is go back to my full sheet, because remember, we get 2 of each. And I'm going to cut out a piece big enough to fit inside here so I can stick with the night sky scene down here as well. All right, so I need to go to my paper trimmer. So I know that the spot that I need to fill is slightly over 5.5 by 5.5. So what I'm going to do, I cut that little extra strip off the page. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to cut this to just over 5.5, just slightly over. So I have this piece cut out, which is the night sky, and that's going to be the background. And I can tell, I think I'm going to need to trim this one a little bit, just like we did the other one. So let's get our little trimmer and do some little like 1/16 of an inch trimmings off of it. Bring this guy over here just a little bit, and I'm going to trim it just a little bit from 2 sides. So I'm trimming from one side, then I'm going to turn it 1 turn and trim from the other. So I'm not trimming from all sides, just from 2 sides at a time. So let's see if that made that work. All this shifting back and forth. Here we go. Okay, let's slide this in. I think that's going to work. That lays perfectly. So we have the night sky in there as well. All right, I need to pull that guy out so I can glue it down. Going to run some art glitter glue on the back and then glue that down into our square. And the good thing is I don't really have to pay attention to the way it lays because it's just stars in the sky, so that works fine. So put that in there. Make sure it's nice and flat all the way around. And that is our background. I love the night sky feel of this box. Okay. Now then, back to the cut apart. Let's move this out of the way again and go back here. And I want to use the one, remember, that says, let me get it, There's Simply No Christmas Without Christ. I'm going to trim this little excess piece off here so I can get to this whole sheet. Trim that away. And go right here and cut this one out. So what I love about these cut aparts is they're usually so that you can just cut them all apart without missing any, without losing any. You're not having to cut through anything. I have seen paper packs in the past. They're not really doing it so much anymore, where they're kind of all over the place and it's hard to cut them. But they're doing a real good job of keeping them where you can just cut straight lines now and not cut through anything. All right, I did leave a little bit of white edge on this one. I didn't mean to. I cut into the other cut apart just a little bit. So I need to trim that away, because that will show on our dark background. Now back to this guy. I'm thinking I want this to be a very central focus and to really pop right here in this box. I think I might want to put a border around it so it'll really stand out. And then, if you remember, we kept our wise men for this section. So like then our wise men are going to sit down here in the bottom. So let me put this on a border. Now I'm going to go back to the paper pack for this because I want to find paper that's going to match really well. Look at this star paper. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to use it for the background piece of that sentiment. That sentiment is 4 by 4. That's the size of that square. So I'm going to cut this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'm actually going to be a little generous on that. I'm going to just add a little space to that, cut it a little bit bigger. Turn this one in here and do it again. When I say add a little bit, I usually add like a 1/16, not a whole 1/8 of an inch. That would move it into a different measurement. I just add about a 1/16 of an inch. All right, so now we'll bring this piece over and I'm going to glue it on top like so. And see, now this will really pop on that night sky background. Taking this piece and going back to my foam, I want to pop this up as well to give it a little dimension. And the cool thing about using these shadow boxes is I do have really all the dimension or all the space I want to be able to do that. So I'm just going to peel some of this off of here. So I've made a change again. I was looking through the paper pack, and I'm not going to use the Wiseman here after all. It's just one of those things. This is what you do when you're doing a process video. I am going to place this inside, and I'm kind of going to center it in there. Let me lay it down and then kind of put it into place. That's not quite center. So I stuck that down with the foam tape, and I think I want to make a little more hay, and look what I found. This little sticker is baby Jesus. Do you see that? I think I want to make him one of those little pop-out pieces like I did in my fall piece and make him stand right there and put hay all in the bottom of this. So let me make some more hay. So to make the hay, I'm using just a brown lunch bag. This is just it's actually a Celebrated bag. Those are sold at Michael's and I've had it in my stash. So I'm just cutting these little strips, pretty thin strips. I may even be a little thicker than last time, but pretty thin, like so. And then I'm just taking my paper crimper and running this through the crimper. You really don't have to do that if you don't want to. You just cut little pieces. But I think the crimper really gives it some body, some texture. So I just kind of put that in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to get caught in there. And then we're just going to feed that out the other side. Let's see if I can hold it like this so you guys can see it. Look at that. So you just twist the little handle here on the end and it feeds it out and crimps it. And I think that's super cute. Okay, now we need to slice this up. Like I said in my original video, if you have the scissors that make the fringe, you can just use that if you want to just cut this into the fringe and then crimp it. That would work. All right, with my scissors, we're going to just kind of come through and cut these pieces down. And I cut them about 1/2 inch to almost an inch. So there's my hay. Surprisingly, that does actually make it look like hay. Slide this down here. Bring my box back over, and I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier, and that is just kind of flood this area with some glue and then glue some hay in. Not being very specific, not being very neat. I'm going to turn this up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to sprinkle that in, and as long as it touches the glue, it'll stay. That's cute. Okay, let's do the other side. Then I'm just going to add some glue in spots to kind of help hold it all together. And like in my first one, I got a little glue on the edge here, no biggie. In the first one, what I did was I just kind of tapped those together, like tapped my finger in there so that it all touched somewhere. And then the glue stays together so that all the glue kind of grabs the little pieces of hay. And once this dries, you can just tilt this forward and let any that didn't stick fall out, and you'll be fine. So now we have a little hay. Let me slide it where you can see it. We have a little hay in there. It's going to take a minute to dry, but that's all right. It'll get there. While that is drying, I'm going to make a little stand for the sticker to stay on. I did this in my fall video as well, so you'll probably remember that. But I'm just going to make just a little square. So I'm going to take a strip of of chipboard. I didn't even measure this chipboard. I'm just going to take a strip, and I think about every 1/2 inch, nope, every 3/4 of an inch, I'm going to make a score mark. So there's one, then here, Then here, and I'm using the little grid line to help me line it up since I can't see my numbers anymore. That's how I do that. Once I can't see the numbers, I just count the grids. Okay, let's do one more. So that'll be one side, two, whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4. I need one more to be able to glue this guy like a box. So I'm going to cut that one there and then flip it over and cut it one more time. Let me make a bend so I can see where that is. There we go. Now I'm going to cut through on this side and release it. There we go. All right. Notice I didn't cut through all of them. That's on purpose. I want to fold this to make it like a box. So now I'm just going to fold, 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 and fold. Okay, so I've made a box. And then this guy is going to get closed together. So now that I've got this all folded, I'm going to glue one end together and make it a box. You can adjust these little boxes that you make. They're just little stands for your stickers or your chipboard pieces or whatever. If you just want to get, they're just to give them some stability so they'll stay in the box. So I'm going to glue this together, and then we'll bring our box back over, our shadow box that is. Bring this back. And now this is going to get glued in this area so that I can stick my little baby Jesus sticker on it. So that makes sense. So we're just kind of making a platform for it. But I need to decide, I'm going to have to hold it up, guys. Sorry, I'm trying not to hide it from you guys. Just for a second. I need to decide exactly how far out I need to mount that. I think right there. Okay. I will show you how far out that is. I just used the sticker to help me decide where to exactly to put it. So I need to bring it on just on the inside of the burgundy part of that picture so I have some room. If you need to measure, you can use your ruler and measure right there just to know where you need to put it. But I think I can eyeball it. So I'm going to add some glue to the bottom of this. Just like so. And then tilt this a little bit so I can see it. I'm going to place this down right here. I'm going to hold that for a second and let it dry into place, and then we can put our sticker on it. Okay, that little stand seems to be in place. I'm going to try to do this. There we go. Okay, if I can do it like this, you can see. Now I'm going to take this little sticker and using the front two little legs of the manger, that's going to be what I stick to that box. The rest will just hide, and then our little sticker, our little baby Jesus, will be kind of at an angle, and he's stuck to the box. You might decide that you want to add some glue behind him, but this is a really sticky sticker, and I think it's going to be fine. So now look, we have the little, there's simply no Christmas without Christ, and then that, it's beautiful. I don't know what's going here. I don't know what else I'm adding, but I'm going to stop with that box there. I have decided to put the little wise men in different boxes. So this part, I think I'm going to let this be more shepherd. And then this part, I think I'm going to let be more wise men down here at the bottom. But when I was looking through the paper pack a while ago, I found this strip at the bottom of this page that has this Bethlehem scene. I totally want that Bethlehem scene to run across this one and across this one. So I want to cut boxes of the Bethlehem scene to fit in here. I just think that'll look really cool. So let's do that really quick. So I'm just going to measure this, and this is 2 3/4 wide by 2 3/4 tall, pretty much. So that means I can cut 4 squares from that strip, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and just adjust them as I need to. So first thing, let's make sure this is 2 3/4. Guys, it is exactly, it's almost like it was meant to be. It is exactly 2 3/4 tall. So now I'm just going to cut it down to 2 3/4 wide. And I may need to use both of this strip from the paper pack. I may not can get all 4 from it, but we'll see if we can. Anyone who does math already knows if I can, because this is 12 inches long. But since I don't do math, I'm going to find out. Oh, it looks like I can. Cool. I think this will be neat. All right, 2 3/4. Now, one thing I want to do, because I painted my shadow box black, anytime there's any white on the edge of our page, it's going to show. Can you see how there's a little bit of white showing? I need to ink that so it'll hide. So I'm just going to use my vintage photo ink and just come over here and knock that white edge back, because if I have to have it, I may not even need it. I may have to trim this off when I go to put this in. But if this shows any little bit, I might see some of that white. So let's just be safe. It's better safe than sorry, right? So just turn that from white to a little darker. It'll hide in the shadow that way. It's just smart to do it ahead of time. This white, by the way, is from where I didn't cut it perfectly. I left just a little bit. And to cut that with my trimmer would be pretty hard. I could probably do it with scissors, but I'm just like, if I can just hit it with the ink and it'll just knock it back, it'll be fine. All right, now for the fun part. Let's lay this guy back out. All right, so one will go in here. It's too big. I'm going to have to trim it. Let's see if I can like line this back up correctly. I'll put this one here. This one feels like the other half. Yep, so I'll put it here. And then this one will go here. Yes, will that one fit? Okay, we've got to do some trimming. So we're going to start one at a time. So I'm going to take this little guy. I'm going to see he's too wide, so I need to trim him down widthwise. Just bring my trimmer over. I'm trying to keep all this in the screen so you can see it. I'm going to trim about a 1/16 of an inch off of one side. Okay. Then let's try him. So widthwise now he's good. He feels good height-wise as well. Let me see. He might fit. All right, I'm going to leave him for now. Let's work on this guy. All right, so width-wise, he's just slightly too wide. So let's trim him down. The reason I'm having to do this is because these boxes are not perfect. It's wood and it's a little imperfect, and that's kind of what makes it cool. It's a little distressed, so I'm just having to trim them just a little bit. All right, so to the first one, we're going to add our art glitter glue to the back and place him down inside. Sorry if I got off camera. I had to bring him closer to me. I couldn't see what I was doing. These shadow boxes are super fun to do, but they're really hard to film. All right, there's the first one. So now I'm going to move these guys out of the way so I can lift it up and try to do it where you can see it. So when you make one of these at home, I want you to try to do it laying flat and see if you can do it. Laying it flat for the camera is so difficult, especially now that I've painted this one black. It's really hard to see in this one. So, all right, so let me stick this in. I'm just laying it into the back there and pressing that down. That's really cute. I love how that looks with the little Bethlehem scene in the background. And now we're going to run one here. Look how amazing that looks running through there. I love how it looks like the city. I may or may not put anything in front of them. I really love looking at that. All right, up here, I want to do shepherds. So let me find what paper I want to put behind there. So I've decided to use the star paper in all of these squares. So rather than just cutting back and forth with the camera for filming purposes, I just went ahead and cut all of these guys to fit in. So I'm going to put those two at the top, and I'm going to do these bottom two here in the same background. So I'm just going to glue those in. You've seen me do that the whole time we're doing this. So I'm just going to glue those backgrounds in. So now you can see we've got the night sky here and we have the night sky underneath. Isn't that just so cool? I love it. I really love how it looks here because it looks like the night sky falling onto Bethlehem. I didn't think about that, but I'm going to change this up in such a way that it's going to kind of, separate these anyway. Okay. I was looking in the paper pack and I found this little sticker that says, "Come let us adore him." Oh, come let us adore him. I think it needs to be in this first box here. And I'm not sure if I want it to go all the way to the back wall. Yeah, I think I do. I was afraid it would get too dark if I put it all the way to the back, but I think it'll work. So I'm going to put, "Oh, come let us adore him" here, and then I'm going to do the shepherds here. I popped it up on some foam like I've done all the other stickers, and I'm just going to center it in that spot. The cool thing about that sticker is it already had the frame built in. Look how cool that looks in there. I love it. Okay, let's get our shepherd. So I have a shepherd and a sheep that's going to go here. And again, I think I need to put hay behind it. I think the hay really changes things. I think it just really kind of pops it. So I'm going to put some in the back of this box at the bottom. Same process for the hay. I'm going to put some glue at the bottom here. You can see that. I got a little high on one side. Okay. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some hay in. And wherever it sticks is where it gets to stay. And I know there wouldn't be hay just piled up wherever a shepherd or a sheep would be, but I just think it's kind of neat to give kind of an organic feel back there. All right, now I'm going to glue my shepherd. Let's see if this will work like it did earlier. Nope, we're too high up. Okay, I'm going to glue the shepherd here and the sheep, and then I'll come right back so you can see what I've done. So I have the shepherd there and the sheep there, and you might want to do this in the different order that I'm doing it because I kind of did it backwards, but I didn't know what I wanted there until I got them. And then I found this sticker that says, "Oh, Holy Night," and it just has to go behind them. So I'm going to stick this to the wall behind where they are. And you can see I kind of did it to one side. It almost feels like the moon a little bit. I think it looks really cool in there. Now, I have enough of the wise men figurines to kind of spread them out across here. So I think I'm just going to decorate the background, add some hay, and then put the wise men in. And I found this sticker. It's so cute. It says, "For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord." And I'm going to put this on in this box, close to the middle, but not quite, a little off center. You'll see when I lay this down what I mean. So it's going to be in a little bit. See, so it's not centered of the box. It's over to one side. And then I'm going to decide what I'm going to put in there. So I think in this box, it needs to be this sticker that says "Wise men still seek him." But it's navy, and if I stick it directly to that navy sky, you're not going to see it. So I'm going to do the same trick I've been doing where I stick it down to paper and then trim it out to give it a framed border. So I'll just trim that out, and that way we'll be able to see it. The cool thing is when you're doing kind of a lot of the same thing, this goes pretty fast at this point because you've done it before, so you really know what you're doing. So I'm going to stick that in there. So at some spots, the process speeds up, if that makes sense. Look at that. That's cool. All right. I want to add hay. You know I do. Again, see what I mean by the process kind of speeds up? We're not really having to do a lot of thinking here. We're just kind of repeating things we've already done. So this part goes pretty quick. So there we go. Hay is in place. Stickers are in place. And now it's time for our scene with our little wise men and camel. So I think I'll put one wise man and a camel over here, one wise man, the one that's standing. The other two are kneeling, and I'll put the kneeling ones here. So camel in this area, standing wise man over here. There we go, wise man, camel. Then the other two wise men on the other side. I absolutely love these guys painted in the white. I think they're so pretty, and they really pop in this black shadow box. So I've backed my screen out a good bit so you can see the whole shadow box at this point, and this is where we are. So I'm going to call this part 2 because we went ahead and we finished all of this section out with the basics. When we come back for part 3, I'm going to do some decorating on the actual outside edges of the shadow box, and we're going to do the back, and this guy will be done. I am loving this project. It is so cute. I just love how kind of dark it is, and then the pops of white at the same time. My favorite. All right, guys, you know the deal. If you make one of these, I want to see it. Head over to our customer gallery at maymaymadeit.com and show me what you're making. And also, if you want to see part 1 of this video, I will be sure to link part 1 in the description and also in the iCard above. And in part 2, I will link everything back to each other. So as long as you follow along, you'll be able to see how this little process is going. So this video goes up on Tuesday. That is today when you're watching it. Part 3, the final part, will go up on Saturday at noon. So you got a little while to wait for it, but that's okay. Good things are fun to wait for, right? I think this has been super fun. You can tell I'm loving this project. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you again Saturday. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.